Hey, what's up guys, Tony here, and you are watching some V8 Supercars. This is a GRAsim League race. This is week 12 at Mount Panorama, and it's with a certain amount of pride, I guess, and I'm just beaming as I'm recording this, but I'm really happy to be returning to the V8 Supercar. I'm really happy to be returning to iRacing, to the league, into official series. I'm just really, like, I'm finding myself in a much different place sort of emotionally, and that's not to say that I don't have like my good and bad days, but I think on the whole things are looking up for me. And so I just want to talk about that, and I'm really, I was really kind of in a not a hurry, but I just like was so excited I wanted to get this video out. And so what I will say is I apologize to begin with, because my normal, TV camera plus in-car camera situation, it's not really working right now. Action's been doing some really weird things. The last couple of times I've tried to make a video similar to my normal style of videos, they just haven't turned out right, because the TV camera and the in-car camera, the cockpit cam, they don't sync up. Like, one is always faster than the other, and I think that might be an action issue, or it might be the iRacing, or maybe it's a Premiere thing, because I've heard from different people that if you've got two different video clips and they don't match identically as far as the frame rate, then they won't sync up. There'll be sound sync issues, there'll be lots and lots of different issues. So man, having that issue, like I synced up my car footage with the in-car footage, and so the TV with the cockpit footage. Anyway, so it's synced up, like I can sync it up at the end, but at the beginning, it was always behind, so the TV footage would be playing catch up the entire race with the cockpit cam, and I'm like, what the hell is that? So I'm gonna try with a different, I'm gonna try with like DxTory, because I have DxTory as well, or I could try with OBS. That's something I haven't decided, I haven't tried yet. I haven't recorded with OBS. I don't know what the quality's like, but I was just watching a video and the guy had mentioned in his comment section that he records with OBS, and I was like, huh, interesting. Well, it's good quality, so maybe I should try OBS. I'm not entirely sure. I've liked Action. Action works pretty good. It does not like a huge hit on my CPU when I'm racing, typically. But it has gotten to the point, and I think it's either iRacing with their graphics update, or maybe suddenly my graphics card is showing its age, but I just can't record live and race because my frames will just dip really low, and it's no fun. It's not fun when you're getting like 40 frames a second and you're just like, I don't want to kill somebody, so I'd rather not record. I'd rather record the replay. And then I run into the issue with the replay. The replay is so like graphics heavy that I think that's what's causing my main issue, is that the frame rates aren't syncing up. I think maybe the frame rates for the TV replay, it's just causing it to dip, and so that inconsistency that's not standard stuck at 60 frames, I think that's what's causing the issues. I'm gonna try DxTory, I'm gonna try OBS, I'm gonna see if I can get this bug worked out. Either that, or maybe I just need to drop some money and get a 980 Ti and just be like, yeah, I got plenty of frames now. But anyways, to move on from that, like, this is actually, no, before I go on that, off that, this is a really good race. I know we're about like 3 or 4 minutes into the race already. This was a really good race. This race was really exciting. And myself, Val, who's in the white grayish car, green car, and then you got Tony J, who was, I think, right in front of me for the most part. We had a really nice train going there, and it was a lot of fun. That was really exciting, and I make my fair share of mistakes on Panorama. This is a track that I know really well, but when you're 6 weeks, removed from iRacing in the V8 Supercar, you're bound to make some mistakes, and so I think I dialed in the car fairly well. It jumps around a little bit on me. I might want to try to refine the setup, but for the most part, I'm really happy with how responsive the setup. I like the setup. Now it's just a matter of time of getting the time to practice and get ready for the Friday night race, because tomorrow night, Thursday night, I have week 1 of schools. The school semester starts, so I've got my thesis writing class tomorrow, and so I won't be around on Thursdays, unfortunately. So Friday nights are the nights I gotta try to get the race in. Either that or I could shoot for Sunday, like late Sunday night races. That's always possible. Race with the Australians, but I'd love to make the Friday night. Usually the Friday night races are pretty good. So anyways, before I'm rambling on. So basically right now, I feel myself like I feel better. I feel a lot better than I have in a long time. And going back, you know, I've talked about this before, but I guess I'll just go over it really quickly. You know, back last season, so season 2, week 12 at Phillip Island, that track in that week for whatever reason sticks out, because that was the point in which I could feel the frustration and building in me, the frustration and the anger. And so it more than likely has been going on for longer than that week 12 season 2, but I don't know how long. But I just identified it then at that point. I'm like, okay, there's something going on, and maybe next season I'll start a new season, we'll start anew, and it'll be fine. But it didn't. It wasn't fine. It kept building and building and building, and of course to the point in which I left the league and the iRacing, and you know, you guys heard the story. So since that time though, things not really have gotten better. I mean, it's like I've identified that I had an issue, and I had some, you know, misplaced aggression and frustration, and it was more of like, okay, I see what I'm doing, and so I'm going to try to divert that energy to another place instead of, you know, just exploding on whatever is causing me the frustration at that moment, be it like iRacing in a V8 supercar or whatever. So I think taking one element of frustration out probably helped out, but really the main source of it was this living situation, and sort of the stress of living here and taking care of an Alzheimer's patient. And it's just, you know, I hate to say it, but I feel so much better now that my grandmother's in a care facility. And I don't know why I hate to say it. I just, like, that's the fact of the matter. And I just think it's not like we put her in prison, so I don't. I guess that's probably the guilt trip in me going like, oh, she's not in her home anymore. She's kind of there, and you know, just, but she's being cared for by professionals, and from what I understand, she seems to be adapting very well. So it's a very positive situation. So I guess I need to start looking at it as a positive and not look at it as such like a negative, because I still sort of view it as a negative. And so sooner or later, I'm going to get my head wrapped around that, and maybe after I visit her for the first time, which I hope will be either this Friday or maybe this weekend. I don't know. I need to get there soon. It's been almost tomorrow. It'll be a week. So tomorrow will be the week, the week sort of you know, getting used to the new facility, the break-in period. So they want her just, you know, like I said before in previous year, they wanted her to be there, like no visitors for a week. Just sort of let her get accustomed to living in this new place and get her accustomed to everything, and then come visit. So tomorrow will be the week period. So after tomorrow, I can go visit. And so anyways, so living in this situation now for as long as I have, and here I have sort of, I've been a week of quote unquote freedom. That just sounds really bad, but it's been a week of just me, and it feels really good. It really does. It's so remarkable, like how different it feels. Like I mentioned in the last video, my uncle had mentioned that the house just feels lighter. You know, there's just not a cloud. There's not this pressure, ominous sort of pressure. The house feels like it's brighter and warmer and calmer, and I definitely agree. It feels way calmer. I mean, so here's a good case in point. So like last week was sort of my first actual like race back with the V8 supercar. I was practicing. I did a couple of practice sessions at Watkins Glen, and that's a track that I've had some really good races on. So I was like, you know, I really want to get back into this. I really want to give it a try. And so I still had some frustration, and you know, it was just kind of like, you know, it was more frustration in me, just kind of like I'd been gone for so long and I couldn't handle the car, and and it was just like, okay, this sucks. But I got it together, got some practice sessions in, and I started to put down some good lap times. And then I decided to just randomly, you know, I was in TeamSpeak with Tony Kloosterman from GRAsim, and we were just talking, and I just decided to sign up for the race. And he's like, "Are you gonna race?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, I think I'm going to." And so I got into I got into the top split, so I was in the broadcast race, which was totally exciting for me. Like I've been watching their broadcasts for a while now, and that's kind of like my goal for the V8 Supercars, is to get to a point where I need to get my iRating up, obviously, but to get to a point where I could race competitively with these guys. And so anyways, to get into the top split for the first time, like it wasn't that highly popular because there's a whole bunch of like new names, and there's a new guy that didn't even have a painted car, and and that's a bad sign because he just bought this car. He hasn't even painted it yet. So I didn't qualify all that. I think I qualified 15th, which is not really that surprising. It's 15th out of 22 cars or something like that. But I got taken out in turn 1 of lap 1, and the guy just miscalculated. He ran wide, and he was coming back on track, and he was going to try to get behind me, but he ended up rear-ending me and sending me flying. He did pit maneuver, and I went flying on the wall, and my race was over. And this is the point. The reason why I'm telling the story is because I wasn't angry. I wasn't frustrated. I was just kind of like, oh, that sucks, kind of moment. But I sent him a couple messages, and I told him, at first I was like, I don't know what you're thinking. That sounds it sounds kind of D-ish, but he responds. He was very apologetic, and I was just like, you know what? Honestly, it's not that big of a deal. It sucks. I'm not mad, but it sucks. We only get 1 race a week or 2 races a week, and so the guy was very apologetic. He understood. But I walked away from the race I wasn't angry. I wasn't angry at all. I just was kind of like, well, that sucks. No big deal. Next time. And I think that's indicative of where I'm going emotionally. And so on my way to repair, because I've always been a very laid-back person. I don't really get wrapped up in a lot of things. I really like to have a quote-unquote drama-free life. I don't like to sweat the small stuff, and I really don't like being angry all the time. And so this, I think, is going to be a great sort of turning point. I see it as a turning point. So the other thing I want to talk about is anxiety. And this wasn't really anything that, like, I wasn't really feeling anxious, or at least I don't think I was feeling anxious, or I didn't identify that I was feeling anxious. But now that I've started to recognize some of these symptoms of anxiety, I'm noticing that I have been feeling these a lot longer than I thought, and I think almost for about 2 years, because I would have these weird it sent me to go see the doctor last semester on campus, but I would have these weird, what my aunt refers to as like a heart flip, where you just kind of feel like something in your chest, like like you've got like chest sort of tightness, and then you just, I don't know, you just feel like anxious, and I had a lot of nervous energy. Like I'd have to go and I had to walk around, I had to do stuff. I couldn't sit still. Like I'd sweat, dry mouth, and sometimes you just get nauseated out of nowhere. And so these would happen, and I just sort of dealt with them. I just thought, in the back of my mind, I was just like, oh, I hope something's not wrong. Like I don't have health insurance. I hope I don't have like a heart attack or something. So I was like freaking out over this stuff. And I think those are just like physical manifestations of anxiety. And so like this last weekend, my girlfriend and I were up in Los Angeles. We went to a Dodgers game. Not because we're Dodgers fans. Like, no, that's not the case. We're not Cubs fans either. We're just on a ballpark tour. So we completed our 5th. We finished off all 5 California ballparks this weekend. So we Petco, obviously been there tons of times. We've been to Angel Stadium a couple of times. We went to AT&T, the Coliseum, and then now Dodger Stadium. So we did all 5 of them. So anyways, while we were there, there's this stand for Dodger dogs, and so it was like really hot, and I was just like sweating my ass off. And then I just got like kind of like lightheaded, and I kind of felt my heart do a weird like flip. And then I was just like, oh my god, I'm just like freaking out. And I was hungry, but then I wasn't. I was like not nauseated, but I just wasn't hungry. And I was just kind of panicking. Like I was just kind of freaking out. I was just going like, oh my god, like heat stroke. And I was like thinking about 1,000 different things. So we went and I sat down, and it took me a few innings to calm down. And then I felt a little bit better. And then the next morning, we got up to go get some food, and we went to breakfast. And like, I don't know about you, but I totally love Denny's Moons Over My Hammy. I don't know. It's probably really bad for you, but I love it. I don't know why. So I was really excited to go get this Moons Over My Hammy. But as we were getting ready to leave, I could just kind of feel like I don't know, I just was feeling kind of my hand like twitchy, you know, like I just like had nervous energy for no reason, out of nowhere. So we're walking down. It's only a few doors down from where we were staying, so we walk down, we sit down, and we're just sitting there and we're talking, and like I'm feeling fine, but I'm feeling like this nervous energy that's out of nowhere. And so she's told me a bunch of times that, hey, look, if you're not feeling well, just let me know. Like, I want to know. Don't keep it in. And so I was kind of sitting there and we're talking, and it just kind of kept growing. It kept building. And so I said, I need to go. I need to walk for a minute. I'll be right back. I'm feeling kind of like a nervous energy. And I was like, my mouth was getting dry, and I just was getting like you know, just nauseated kind of. So I walked to the bathroom, kind of took a couple minutes there and came back. And so I just couldn't eat breakfast. I just wasn't hungry. It was just like, it was gone all of a sudden. I just was like, I don't know. And so we left breakfast, we went to the hotel room, we packed everything up, and we left. And we went to the Universal City Walk, and we got there, and then I was fine. So for whatever reason, like at that moment, I just like had, I don't want to say a panic attack. It wasn't a panic attack, but it was just like a case of anxiety, and it came out of nowhere. And so I'm trying to find a way to just deal with that. And my hope is that with my living situation changing and sort of my life changing, I think once the dust settles on everything that's going on right now, once the dust settles, then I think I'll be fine. But as of right now, I think I'm going to sort of be a little anxious about a lot of things because there's a lot of unknowns in my future. So I'm kind of hoping that's it. If it doesn't work out that way, I think what I'll end up doing is the university, obviously we have free student services, so I'll probably just go see a counselor. I probably should just go see a counselor anyways to get a lot of this stuff off my chest, but I feel as if that I'm already doing that with my videos and sort of talking with you guys about my experiences. So I think this is very therapeutic for me, so I'm very eager and open and willing to continue doing this as long as possible. As long as anyone will watch, that's for damn sure. But maybe I will see, you know, first couple weeks, go see one of the counselors there just to sort of say, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. Does this sound like it's on the right track? And maybe get some, you know, professional answers. But anyways, yeah, like I said, I think I've been dealing with some anxiety for a while, a lot longer than I realized. Like I said, probably about 2 years, because it came out of nowhere while I was working at Albertsons, and so it was very, very random. Didn't happen very often, and it was very minor. And then when it started to build, and it did start to build, it just is like, oh shoot, something's wrong. So I now talked to my aunt. My aunt's a nurse, and I talked to her about it, and she said that she reassured me. She's like, oh, that's normal. She said that, you know, when you get into your 30s, that's like the highest level of anxiety for people. And she says that we come from a family of anxious people, which I'm like, I don't know what that means, but she reassured me that's normal. She went through it. You know, it wasn't dying like I was freaking out. She's like, that's a family anxiety right there, you know, thinking that you got something wrong with you. And I was like, well, if you're not feeling well, you know, I don't think that's just, you know, like an inherent anxiety within our genes. I think that's just normal people going like, something's wrong. Maybe I should have it looked at. So it's nice to be back in the saddle again. That's really what it amounts to. And so I'm really looking forward to next season. I'm really looking forward to, you know, getting better in the car. I'm looking forward to, you know, starting a new chapter in my life. And I'm really looking forward to feeling better. I'm really looking forward to being, you know, whole again. I don't feel fractured, but I think maybe a little cracked, you know, for like a porcelain glass. Like a little crack, not fractured, but I have some healing to do. And so you guys, like I've said it before, you guys who watch the video, you guys who comment on the video, you really help me out. It really does help me out. And I think just sort of time is going to be the other good healer. So I'm gonna let the rest of the race go. I think we've got about 5 minutes of the race left, so a couple laps. So as always, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I shall talk to you guys later.